And welcome back. And we've been talking about census, and South Africa's fourth census of the democratic era officially gets underway today. And for the first time, it includes a digital option for people to complete the questionnaire online. You would have heard in our conversation with the Statistician General the 4 options that are available to South Africans, and also how you can go about making sure that your safety is guaranteed during this process. But he also outlined why it is important, critically important for everybody in the country, whether you are a South African or not. Everybody in the country needs to be counted so that it would assist government to do better and make better provision in its plans. So we're going to cross now to our reporter Mariska Botha at the Goodwood Correctional Centre in the Western Cape, because everybody needs to be counted. Mariska, good morning.
Good morning to you. Yes, you are absolutely correct. We are at the Goodwood Correctional Centre, which is a remand centre, of course, where people come through here while they're trial awaiting. This is where they're held, and this is from where they are sent to the various courts to go stand trial for the charges they face. We have this morning with us the privilege to have the Regional Commissioner of Correctional Services in the Western Cape. We were going to set up outside to give you an idea of what it looks like, but then the rain started coming down and he kindly invited us inside, and this is the area where all the processing happens. If an inmate comes in, this is where they are processed. But to tell us a little bit more about how it works inside a centre like this, we're joined now by Delikile Klaas, who's the Regional Commissioner in the Western Cape. Commissioner, thank you so very, very much for joining us, and thank you for inviting us inside to have a look to see what it looks like. First of all, explain to us what happens here.
Thank you, Mariska, and thank you to the listeners. We are now standing at the reception area of the Goodwood Correctional Facility. This is an area where when offenders come in, we receive their warrants. They are captured in our computerized system. After capturing them, then they are allocated to respective units or cells. And on daily basis, in the morning, we are counting how many offenders are in our cells, and we compare it with what is in the system based on what was captured as they were coming in. And at night, again, we are counting how many are in the system, because during the day, there could be those who might be released on bail. There could be those who are sentenced and sent to other facilities. There could be those whose cases are withdrawn in court and they have to go home. So that is why our counting happens every day in the morning and every day in the afternoon. And all of that, we capture it in the system here in the reception area.
We were jokingly talking a little bit earlier. You kind of do a mini census every day. Talk to us about the counting. Why is it important that you know how many inmates are here in the morning and the evening?
It is important for us to know exactly who is in our facility, because whenever an inmate comes, that inmate comes with a warrant of arrest. So we need to make sure that the person whose names appear in the warrant, the person whose fingerprints appear in the warrant, is the same person that we have in our care. And it is the same person who would go to a cell and wake up in the same cell that we allocated him to. Because during the day there are movements. That's why you are then forced to count twice in a day. So we want to make sure that we have the right person with the right warrant, and we know exactly who is in our space.
And this is a remand centre, but you are also in charge of all the other correctional facilities across the province, like Paulsmoor and so on. Overcrowding is a major issue, is it not? It's a great challenge that the Department of Corrections face.
Yes, we have a huge problem of overcrowding, which is in the main occasioned by high levels of crime, particularly in the Cape Metro. In the Western Cape, I would say today we are having around 26,000 offenders, and our bed space can only accommodate around 1,800 offenders, which indicates that in some instances we have to give offenders mattresses, or we have to put an additional bed in a cell that should not be having that additional bed. But I think it's something that as society we have to collectively deal with it, to try and reduce levels of crime in our communities.
And at a centre like Polsmoor, for example, that's where people are sentenced. That's where they serve life sentences and so on. Is there a similar situation there where overcrowding is an issue? And how does it affect your duties as correctional officers?
Yes, Polsmoor, like Goodwood, are currently remand detention facilities. Everybody who's sentenced in the courts, either in Polsmoor or Goodwood, we then send them to the Drakenstein Maximum Correctional Facility, Helderstrom Maximum Correctional Facility near Caledon, and Brandfley Maximum Facility near Worcester. So we have 3 maximum facilities. And for youth, we also have a Drakenstein Youth Maximum Facility, where we keep young people who have committed heinous crimes in our society.
Thank you very much. That was Delekile Klaas, the Western Cape Regional Commissioner for Correctional Services. We're going to bring in Mr. Trevor Oosterwyk. He's from Statistics South Africa to talk to us a little bit about the importance of also counting those people who are in correctional facilities. Mr. Oosterwyk, thank you very, very much for joining us. Why is it important that we also know how many people are in our correctional facilities?
I thought it was a great analogy for the work that I must do to manage and understand what there is. And so we just do it at the national level, at Statistics South Africa, and we generally go to households. But to have a head count and understand how many people are in the borders of Africa on the reference night, which is the second, which was last night, and we start with kind of the homeless and those in special dwelling institutions like prisons, old age homes, infirmaries, etc. We don't actually go into each cell and do a head count. They have very good administrative records. As you heard the commissioner say, they keep record. And the system, we provide them with a very special questionnaire for the census purposes, and they complete that from their administrative records.
How does it play into what you compile at the end of knowing what's going on in South Africa? Does it feed into how policy is made? How does it work if we know how many people are in correctional facilities?
It is not so much for us the question of that would be reflected, yes, but it's not so much for that. But for purposes of planning, you've touched on the issue of overcrowding. And they understand what the numbers of beds they have available. And so if we create an overall picture, it helps them also to see that there's been a steep increase in the numbers of people coming here, and they may need prisons in the future. And similarly, we have an age permit that says that there are so many South Africans of this and that and the other age. And we see that the 2 to 3 year olds are going to be in school in 2 to 3 years. That gives us a sense that in 2 to 3 years we're going to need so many schools. Do we have that? Or hospitals for that matter. That ties in with the notion of why this particular project and exercise is so important. People say it's Stats SA Census, but it's not really Stats SA Census. We just coordinate and do the work. It's the nation census, that the nation can understand how many people were here on a reference night. How many of them are South African born? How many of them not South African born? All that information helps not just ourselves today, but helps future generations. And we can then compare over time. This is our 4th census, and we will do more and more and more how the society has shifted and changed over time.
Thank you very, very much. That Mr. Trevor Oosterwyk from Statistics South Africa telling us how all of this fits together. You heard from Mr. Delekile Klaas saying that they have a very complete statistics and information that they share with the census people. So yes, definitely everybody inside the borders of South Africa is being counted, including those in correctional and remand centres like this one here in Goodwood in the heart of Cape Town.
Mariska Botha, thanks so much for that. And we see some lamps behind you. Load shedding, it would seem, is underway there at the Goodwood Correctional Service. And Mariska nodding, yeah, this is what we are dealing with. So thanks so much for that, Mariska Botha at the Goodwood Correctional Service in Cape Town.